Welcome to Cosmic Diaries. This is Priya Kalia, and here's your astrological overview for the month of February. And it's a big month. Depending, of course, where you have Aquarius in your chart, it's a crowded house. There's a stellium of planets that have gathered in Aquarius now, and where the energy is really buzzing and full of opportunities. What's needed now, and certainly, wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, is a level of detachment, and especially if things, because now Mercury is also retrograde this month, and with all these planets, the stellium of planets moving through Aquarius, Mercury is the only planet that's moving in the opposite direction. So we're in a process of renegotiation, re-examining beliefs, opinions. Aquarius is a fixed air sign, so some of the hardest things to let go of are our beliefs. It's our beliefs that limit our ability to see the potential in situations. And the more strongly someone believes something, there's it's likely that, I don't want to say that it's not a true belief, but it's that the loss of that belief would shatter their worldview so deeply that then it would mean having to wrap your head around a whole new reality. So people cling to their beliefs. And what's unfolding now with Saturn square Uranus is really pushing us past our comfort zone. So it will challenge you to let go of beliefs, to accept a new reality. But the more we can do that, we can see that there's a lot more potential in reality. And reality is a lot more sublime and magical than we think. So Aquarius really is the sign of liberation at the highest level. It's a sign that comes after Aquarius comes Pisces, which is a sign of cosmic consciousness. So Aquarius is a sign of the awakening, where you're awakening to a greater consciousness within you. And for that, for you to be able to channel that and be a vessel for it, it's important that you let go of those beliefs. So then there can be, again, a stream of consciousness that pours through you. Because life holds infinite potential. And Aquarius is a very innovative sign. It's a sign of innovation and creativity. So it's all about trying something new and seeing potential or seeing new ways forward where we haven't before. Aquarius deals with technology and modern science and advances in science, technological advances. So that's the kind of inspirational energy that we have access to. So it's a chance to really look at things with new eyes, to look at things from an opposite perspective, with Mercury retrograde, to re-examine your beliefs, and what you believe to be true and why, to be able to recognize that look at actions rather than words. Pay attention to actions rather than words. Pay attention to the reality of your present circumstances rather than be triggered into old patterns. The other important thing that's playing out over the course of this month, all the planets are between the nodes. Mars right now is the planet that's closest to the North Node. Mars is in Taurus. So Mars is the only personal planet that is not in Aquarius. Of course, if we look at Mars in Taurus, along with Uranus in Taurus, but Mars in Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and Venus is now in Aquarius. So it kind of does come back to Venus, which is about our values. And Taurus is also about values. So your values are important, but with Mars in Taurus leading this train of planets, it's important to now recognize what is the driving force. What are the values that are driving you forward? Is it money? Because Taurus does represent money, and it rules all material energy and physical energy. So it's all your physical possessions as well. It's your sense of security in a tangible sense, but also in an emotional sense, because ultimately that's the challenge now, is for us to dig deeper and go beyond just our physical attachments, and especially our physical attachments to money or even sex. And again, there's no right or wrong choice in any of this. What matters with Mars and Taurus, with Mars, the lesson is always of awareness. So, you know, and Mars is about your drive. So the question is, what is driving you? What are the values that are driving you as you move forward? And as issues arise and as, questions arise. The Taurus is about consistency and about building something into a tangible reality. So it's about you staying on track with your goals and not being distracted by shiny objects, so to speak. Because with all this Aquarius energy, there could be a flurry of excitement and perhaps distractions, that ultimately lead nowhere. So, or are just a waste of time. But so it's Mars and Taurus is asking for focus so you can take constructive action towards your goals and not be distracted by distractions uh, and stay the path. Then by the end of the month there can be a real sense of having manifested something tangible or made real progress rather. As you enter this month, Venus at the end of this week on the 6th of February will make a conjunction to Saturn and then will square Uranus. And this is following in the footsteps of all the planets that have gone before: Mercury, Sun, Jupiter, and now finally Venus. So she's, the last but certainly not the least at this party. It's, to me, this energy feels like the queen who's fashionably late, but still right on time, and there's an eager audience waiting and watching. Uh, Venus is all about our values. Venus represents our relationships, money, and all matters of the heart, and everything that we value. So there are, as Venus moves to this conjunction with Saturn early in the month, there's a sense of having to reflect on our boundaries and our limits and our bottom line, whether that's financially, whether it's in relationships, wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, this energy is playing out. And it's a chance to really get honest with yourself, because, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So it's not about what's right or wrong now. It's about what you can live with and what your values are and what your bottom line is. With this conjunction taking place in Aquarius, and a conjunction is the end of a cycle, but it's really the beginning of a new cycle now, because this is Venus's first conjunction to Saturn in Aquarius. And as we enter this new territory, a new chapter, collectively and personally, this is a chance to make to set foundations on the right values, or rather pay attention to the values that you're laying your foundations on, because without that you're building a house of cards. With Venus, well, as Venus makes a conjunction to Saturn, she also on the same day will make a square to Uranus. So relationships, financial situations are certainly highlighted, personally as well as on a collective stage. So there's a sense of doors swinging open, but this will of course come from first a willingness to leave the past behind. So the past 6 months we've been on quite a challenging journey, which has called for a lot of growth and maturity. And all of this has come with its growing pains. But now, excuse me, I have allergies. But now there's a chance to really embody the lessons that you've learned and not carry the past with you. To free yourself of a burden, to free yourself of any guilt or past attachments that weigh you down and prevent your progress. On the 8th of February, the Sun will be conjunct Mercury. So that the Sun-Mercury conjunction, and Mercury is now retrograde, so it's a moment of clarity. It's a moment of truth. It's a moment of truth with yourself about what you value and what's important for you, and where you stand in situations, and not just going along with something or trying to people please or just going along with the crowd for the sake of it, because you'll regret it eventually. This is Aquarius energy. Aquarius asks for self-acceptance above all, and Aquarius can be a very revolutionary sign and a very rebellious sign, but rebellion for the sake of it does nothing. So this is not just about rebellion, it's more about Aquarius at best wants harmony in the collective. And there can be a sense of harmony in the collective, absolutely. But for that, it also requires courage to be able to stand alone if need be, because that's how change happens. And change very often begins with one person, and then that one person is the voice for a greater collective that perhaps aren't in a position to speak for themselves. So trust that whatever's unfolding, I mean, you are a part of the universe, and every person, and that's what Aquarius teaches us. It's a sign of the individual, but also the sign of the collective. So it asks that we celebrate our differences and recognize that the whole would not be whole without the sum of all of its parts, however insignificant, all things great and small. So now more than ever, we're hopefully learning that no one is better than the other. We all have our part to play, and the question now is, what is your role in a situation? And what is your role? What are you bringing into the world? What are you bringing forth through your consciousness? Aquarius is a sign of the water bearer, and somewhere in your life, wherever you have this Aquarian energy, you are symbolically, metaphorically acting as that water bearer to bring in pure consciousness into this world. But for that, you have to have clarity. Then you can just be a channel for a stream of higher consciousness. Rather than clarity, it's about being an empty vessel, so you can channel that. And when we talk about empty vessel in terms of symbolism of Aquarius, it's more, detachment and being devoid of the ego, which is Leo, the opposite end of the spectrum. Then, the light of consciousness can pour through and nourish reality. So it's the wisdom of the stars, and it's the wisdom that comes from somewhere beyond. It's that flash of inspiration. That's what Aquarius energy is all about. So as you move to, after the 8th of February, on the 10th of February, Mercury will be square Mars, and Mercury is now retrograde. And Mercury first made a square to Mars on the 8th of January, which probably brought a lot of tension. So it would help to look back to what was unfolding around the 8th of January and that first week of January, because Mars had just entered Taurus on the 6th of January. So this was the first release of tension. So there might have been heated words, and where there has been a breakdown of communication, or perhaps things have been said, you can't take back your words. But that's why, words are powerful. They can be used to hurt or heal. And there's a chance now that to really reach a deeper understanding. Rather than blaming someone else, this is about acceptance. Finding acceptance for yourself, for another, and creating space for honest dialogue, and allowing space perhaps for a situation to heal, allowing perhaps space for the dust to settle, learning to listen to what someone is saying and really let it sink in, rather than just waiting our chance to respond. So this can play out in many ways, but Mercury Mars square, whatever tension seems to be brewing, we are in the waning cycle of the moon at this point. So, it's important that you release and let go and clear space for something new to take seed. And then on the very next day, on the 11th of February, Venus conjuncts Jupiter just hours before the new moon in Aquarius. So this is big. There are major opportunities arising, second chances. You're discovering new potential in situations, or perhaps something that you'd almost given up hope on. And, you can breathe new life into something now, or see something from another perspective and see the real potential that it does hold. But Again, so wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, this is a new cycle, and it will call for clearing space of the past, so something new. You can create and manifest something new. There is a vision that's forming within you, because at the time of a new moon, there is no moon in the sky, so we have to go inward to find insight. And the presence of Venus and Jupiter, there's a sense that what's needed now is faith in yourself. You can create or manifest or draw into your world what you desire, but it will require a willingness to be detached, open, willing to receive, as well as gratitude for all the gifts that you have been given, the love that you've been given, and recognizing that you have, whether it's the talents, creativity, innovation, support, financially, materially, in terms of the love that you have from the people in your life, and or those who believe in your vision. What you need is present, and you can manifest something. But this also will require, above all, faith in yourself and faith in the universe, and not needing so much validation for your desires, and then trusting what you desire most will, what you need most will come to you. It will also, with this Venus conjunct Jupiter, there is a sense of having to take a leap of faith. So whether that's in love or in relationships or in financial matters, there is a sense of having to take a leap of faith. But that's why your values are important. And so you're not getting swayed or swept away with the crowd or distracted by something shiny, but that's ultimately hollow. Foresight is needed, and it's important that you're looking at the bigger picture of your life as well, and re-examining your beliefs of, again, not to belabor the point, but everything else that I've been talking about in this video, the entire theme of the month, which is just re-examining what you think is possible and why not. So you are being drawn out of your comfort zone, but we are being drawn out of our comfort zone, but there's also a sense of recognizing that you're not free falling. There is a safety net, and the universe, with the presence of Jupiter and Venus, there is a safety net. Yes, 13th, Mercury conjuncts Venus, Mars sextiles Neptune. There's definitely space for honest conversations, and we are in a new moon cycle, so there is the potential for renewing commitments, renegotiating arrangements financially, emotionally. Once again, a lot of detachment is called for, and freedom, allowing others freedom to make their own choices and not trying to force anyone. And same goes for you, creating space for acceptance for your choices, even if it's not what is expected of you or what you think is expected of you. But having the courage to be honest with yourself about what you need and what is important and what you value. And with Mercury retrograde, there could definitely be second chances, and it could also mean, perhaps acknowledging where you might have been mistaken about something, or where at first you thought something, you didn't want something and now you do, or you thought you wanted something and now you don't. Whatever the case may be honest with yourself, because this is a process of reevaluation. On the 14th, Mercury will be conjunct Jupiter. So again, there's setting, and then on the 17th, Saturn squares Uranus. So on the 14th, there's definitely the room for honest conversations, and there are deep truths coming to the surface. It will require wisdom, honesty, again, with yourself, with others. It will require perspective, especially if something is upsetting you. And I'm not saying that there is any reason for that, but there's always two sides to something, right? If you're enjoying something, that's great. But if something is not what you thought it was, or this is a chance to step back, to gather perspective, because there's so much opportunity here, And with Mercury retrograde, this is a process of discovering a deeper truth and more opportunities. So stay open minded with whatever's unfolding. On the 17th of February, Saturn squares Uranus. I've made a separate video for that. So that's just big. That's opening the gates and, the first stage of what's unfolding over the course of the year. And in one sense, will be, what unfolds around the 17th of February, because the sun will be at the end of Aquarius at that point. And I've mentioned this, said this in greater depth in the Saturn square Uranus overview. What unfolds now around the 17th of February is really going to come to fullness by the end of the year, around Christmas. So it's important that you're, again, moving in awareness, because otherwise there's going to be a sense of, running to stand still. So it's important that you're stretching yourself, and, we're being asked to step out of our comfort zone. But at the same time, it's important now that you know your boundaries and the limits that you will not cross, which means knowing where your values and knowing your integrity. So, and then it's about letting go of the superficial values of society or conditioning that keep you caged into being something that you're not, perhaps, or limit your potential, because your consciousness is infinite. And with all this energy in Aquarius now, it's you're bursting with newness and a need to break free in some area of your life. And there's so much potential here. I can't even really put it into words. But as the year progresses, we're learning that there's a lot more potential than we even currently think. So once Mercury stations direct on the 20th, the days around Mercury's direct station, especially with Saturn square Uranus on the 17th of February, pay attention to what's unfolding then, move slowly, let go of your beliefs, then you can discover the truth and you can really see the potential in things. The sun enters Pisces on the 18th of February. Venus squares Mars on the 19th of February. This is still before Mercury stations direct. So the energy is very passionate and there's juicy opportunities arising. But again, detachment is called for, and a dispassionate approach would be best, rather than, and especially if something is, because Mercury is still retrograde at the time of this Venus-Mars square. So if, there's important things, truths again coming to the surface, and passionate desires arising, but which is why it's important that you move slowly, so you can turn this corner with awareness and use your words to communicate and close a gap rather than feed any sense of tension. Venus will then, Mars, on the 20th of February, Mercury stations direct, and then Mercury will be direct and move out of shadow on the 7th of March. On the 24th of February, Mars trines Pluto, and that is, we're moving a lot of stuck energy. So there can be a real sense of progress there. Feeling like you've moved past a pattern or something that's held you back in the past, and making that solid, tangible progress with it. On the 25th of February, Venus enters Pisces, where she's exalted. And Venus is about love and relationships. And Venus in the sign of Pisces, of course, this is exalted energy, but you have to remember that in Pisces, it's all about spirituality and unconditional love, rather than even, yes, it can be romantic energy and it can be glamorous, but really this is about unconditional love and a more spiritual, higher, divine love. And we, as Pisces, we have to remember that in Pisces, it's all about spirituality and unconditional love, rather than even, yes, it can be romantic energy and it can be glamorous, but really this is about unconditional love and a more spiritual, higher, divine love. And we, as Pisces, we have to remember that in Pisces, it's all about spirituality and unconditional love, rather than even, yes, it can be romantic energy and it can be glamorous, but really this is about unconditional love and a more spiritual, higher, divine love. On the same day, the sun will be sextile Uranus. Emotions are definitely rising as we move through the end of the month. With the sun sextile Uranus, you know, leave room for magic. There could be surprises. Uranus is always about the unexpected, so there could be unexpected, surprising developments taking place. Just the more you can flow with the energy, you can shape your reality consciously and be creative with the energy and the opportunities that are presenting themselves. Venus and the Sun are both in Pisces now, so the energy is absolutely creative. And emotionally as well, there's a lot of depth here. And there are deep connections that are forming, deep bonds that are forming. As the full moon aligns on the 27th of February at the end of the month, which brings us to the end of the month, there's healing in the air, there's magic in the air. So pay attention to where you have Virgo in your chart, because that's where this full moon energy is playing out. And this is the culmination of a cycle that began 2 weeks ago with the Aquarius new moon, but this is also the culmination of a larger 6-month cycle that began 6 months ago with the Virgo new moon at the time on the 17th of September 2020. So it will help to look back at the seeds you were planting at the time and what was unfolding at the time, because Mars was newly retrograde at the time as well in Aries. But you've learned a lot over the past 6 months and certainly over the past 2 weeks. And now that you're seeing something in the fullness of time, you're seeing with Virgo, Virgo deals with themes of your health, emotional, mental, spiritual. It deals with our daily processes and daily routines. It also deals with, our work, our daily work. It deals with themes of selfless service. So these are some of the themes that are, themes that are arising. But, on a deeper level, whatever's unfolding now, these are spiritual lessons. So as situations come to light, you're learning what does and does not work, what is and is not working. And it's full moons, as you move over the next 2 weeks, it's a chance to clear space, to let go of what's not working, to weed out what's, preventing your progress. Then you can focus your time, attention, and energy and to nurture and nourish what is precious and what is worth preserving and what does hold a lot of infinite potential. And you can, something you thought, you've over the past 2 weeks, it's like we've been breathing new life into a situation. And now it's a chance to really nurture what's slowly taking seed. And again, these are spiritual lessons. So on the deepest level, this is a spiritual blossoming. So it's a chance to let go of, whatever doesn't serve your greatest purpose and your greatest sense of well-being on all levels. And this is a chance to wipe the slate clean as you reach a deeper understanding of situations, so you can leave the past behind and create space for healing. Because with Virgo, the message now above all is of healing. And with the sun in Pisces, there's magic. There's potential for deep magic here. Bonds are deepening, but also, and Virgo is a Mercury ruled sign, and Mercury is now in its final direct shadow phase. So we're understanding even the recent past in a new light and coming to a deeper understanding of situations. So move slowly. Let healing be your focus, which means allowing space for it, not picking scabs. And recognizing your words have the power to hurt or heal. So using them consciously. Now, no matter what is playing out, there's nothing broken that can't be fixed. Whether it's a broken heart or a situation in your life or at work or whatever it is that you're dealing with. It's a matter of you looking for solutions, keeping an open mind, an open heart, and seeing new ways forward. But as you can see, it's a big month, and really this month is the beginning, just the beginning of what will unfold over the course of 2021. And the seeds we are planting in February really have the potential to be life-changing and blossom and bloom over the course of the year into something that's almost larger than life, and that is a source of inspiration to many, and of course sustains you as well. So, and there's a lot of the message really here is about freedom and learning to accept ourselves so you can be liberated to be wholly yourself and do, or rather be, all that you were born to be. Look for solutions, keep an open heart, use your imagination, have faith in a vision, and by the end of this year, by December, the seeds you're planting now are going to come to fullness. So keep the faith, and you'll take things a day at a time and you'll be guided moving forward. So I think that's all I want to say for now. Thank you for watching. And of course, I will be doing these every month. So do sign up at YouTube, and I'll have weekly updates as well. So sign up at cosmicdiaries.com as well for my newsletter with weekly updates. But yeah, I hope to be bringing you more videos. So if you like this, do sign up for the channel, hit the thumbs up button, all that good stuff. And you can email me at priya@cosmicdiaries.com anytime for consultations. But until next time, take care of yourself, sending you lots of love, and bye for now.